It's Steve. This is October 2025. Been up here a couple days. My prior video I showed how I'd done the town of CATAWISSA here, and I've gone ahead then and for the most part completed this Susquehanna River bridge crossing. I'll explain in a few minutes how I did that. I've also gone ahead and come around the corner here, and I've put in a creek with a scratch-built covered bridge on it. So that's as far as I've gotten. The water features take a little longer than some of the scenery. So anyway, what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to run a passenger train here through CATAWISSA and over the new scenery. I'm going to use this G-2 Pacific. And I'll go ahead and bring it back here. And let it rest here at the town of CATAWISSA. So let me go through what I've done here. I've shown most of this the last time. That's the CATAWISSA depot, and that's the crossing of the Wilkes-Barre Pensy branch. So I've gone ahead here and I've actually raised the riverbed up about 2.5 inches. I basically just cut an appropriate sheet of plywood, put it on some risers, glued and screwed it in, added a front fascia board, and then I had to remake the piers. Now I'll just discuss some of the techniques I used here. So the piers are basically just 1x4 blocks cut on a chop saw and shaped. And then what I did on them is that I put a thin coat of drywall spackle on the 3 visible sides. When that dried, I painted them, and I may actually weather them a little bit more than what they are now. And then I scored the block into that with a sharp edge of a screwdriver. Here's the end abutment here, and the end abutment here, and these are just Atlas bridge sections. So like I say, I'll probably weather the abutments a bit more. So then what I did is my standard cardboard and paper bags using hot glue, and then a thin coat of plaster, did the river banks. And once they were done, I got them all painted up and added ground cover and trees and foliage. The Susquehanna River bank's kind of about like this if you were to go there. And I really like that greenery that comes down the side of the bank. I actually purchased that at Hobby Lobby. They had a really nice scenery mat material that I just pulled apart and glued into place. The main thing here of difficulty was trying to blend the backdrop, and it's not perfect, but I put a curved section. It curves up to the vertical part of the backdrop, and then it curves forward, and I glued that in, so it's sort of like a just a curved section. And then I did the best I could to match the colors, and it's not perfect. I don't know if I can ever get it perfect, but from all I've known from past layouts and reading and so on, you want to do the river a very dark greenish black in the deeper sections. You never want to do it blue. The blue is what you see reflected from the sky. And so this is really just acrylic paints. I used combinations of a dark green, black, and then toward the ends I feathered earth colors in to it to make it appear that there's depth. Added a lot of rock and so on, glued in place with diluted white glue, and then I did my river material. And what I use for that, and it works real good, is just a mixture of 2-part epoxy and Viratex epoxy. You got to mix it just right, 50-50. If it's off, it doesn't often dry quite right. So I did this yesterday, and it's nearly dry. It may take a couple days. I may even actually put another coat of epoxy on it. That's probably 1/8 of an inch thick, but that's my rendition of the North Branch of the Susquehanna River crossing of the CATAWISSA branch. The actual bridge has 9 spans. This has 4, but it's a similar type of bridge to this. That, you know, the trees are the same I've used before. There's some super trees, there's some commercial trees, there's a lot of puffball trees, there's some homemade pine trees, and then there's some commercial pine trees. Most of that stuff I get off the internet. So anyhow, I was really happy to be able to get that done or near done, and I think it looks decent. It'll do, I guess. Haven't done anything yet to CATAWISSA. That's pretty well there. So then what I did, that took about a day, a little over a day to do that, day and a half. I went ahead and I scenic this back section here using my rock technique. All this rock work is from previous layouts, and I found it to be the best option for eastern sedimentary type rock. What it is, it's just old ceiling tiles. You break them in 1-inch, 2-inch sections and glue them together, and then fill the cracks with Sculptamold or drywall spackle, whatever. Paint them up, weather them, and they make pretty good looking rock, honestly. So all this is recycled, all this rock material here. And I put the scenery up to the backdrop and used a lot of the puffball trees and so on. Some commercial pines. That tree there, that deciduous, I actually got that from Hobby Lobby too. I've put several of them into this next scene, and I kind of like them. The super trees there. These small light yellow ones I got on the internet. I've gone ahead and put in some Woodland Scenics barbed wire fencing and some animals again. And then what I did here was I used a multi-tool saw and cut out a section of plywood here in the shape of the creek. And then I used masonite, put in the creek level about 3/4 of an inch lower, and did the same thing with the banks I did on the Susquehanna River over there. And then I put in the scratch-built bridge that I made. And then I did the same thing on the river. I used the dark green and feathered the banks with earth color. And that's supposed to be CATAWISSA Creek. So, real happy with that. Interestingly, in the road material, here, I used the same road material that I used over here for the paved roads. And years ago, I was able to get large sheets of styrene at a big box store, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, wherever, but I found that increasingly hard to find. You can see here that I've put in the railroad crossings and I've put in the sidewalks also. So I was at Hobby Lobby, and they had acrylic sheets. They were clear, something like 2 by 3 feet sheets for like $2.50. So I bought one, acrylic plastic, and spray painted the one side gray as a base color, and then I just scored and snapped off the road sections. And I think it works pretty good because it's firm and it'll hold its shape, and you glue it down. I think it gives a pretty good road surface, and then you can paint it however you want to. So that's just a really quick update. Like I said, the sidewalks in and the road crossings are in. Here's one here. Again, that's that G-2 Brass Pacific. Runs really nice. Which the Reading had a Pacifics in 3 classes, 462s. But anyhow, so you come along here, you cross the Wilkes-Barre branch here, and then we come to the Susquehanna North branch. And that's my rendition of it for what it's worth. And then we come along to this corner. And the weird thing is I kind of have a master plan in my head, but when it comes to these individual scenes like here, I kind of just go as I go, and like whatever pops in my head that seems right, I do. It's not like I knew from the get-go I wanted to put a covered bridge scene here. It just kind of came to me, and I thought, yeah, let's do that. And kind of the same with that farm scene that's down there at the other end of CATAWISSA that I showed. A lot of these scenes, they just kind of, and where to put the rocks and so on, I kind of just look at the backdrop and try to figure what looks good and what might be good there. And like I said, I put the interior bracing inside of that covered bridge. So when I come up, next time I'll probably do that little short section there. I'll probably put a piece of plywood or masonite on that end. And then what I'm going to have to do, honestly, is come around and start over here. And this is really the extent of the rest of the top deck. So again, I don't have a specific plan yet for right in here, but it's, some ideas will come, and I'll try to make it look as good as I can. Maybe I'll do a farm. I don't know yet. Definitely won't be any water features or anything. Then I've set Danville out, kind of how I may do it to a degree. I'm going to have a road coming probably along the track, because I like the looks of that. And then the road going back into the backdrop area with businesses and so on. I think that might look okay. And then I'll have a short section here, and then we're going to have to do the river thing again. This one I've got at the right level. This is actually just a semi-wide creek. This isn't as big as the Susquehanna, so I'm not sure how I'm going to make that work, but I'll probably have the creek will come under this portion of this girder bridge like it does in real life. And I actually remember fishing with my son under the old bridge some years ago in Chillisquaque Creek. And then there's this old stone arch, I guess viaduct you would call it. So I'm going to try to blend that all in and make that look kind of neat, kind of like it does in real life. So we got to do that. We'll have to do the town of Danville here, and then this kind of this open section back to where I did the covered bridge scene. So it should be fun. Probably towards the end of the year, maybe early 2026, I hope to have this top deck finished off. And then what I'm probably going to do beyond that, well, we'll see. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you all have a really good day.